Top 3 exercises that I can recommend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The number 1 best exercise I would recommend is bench press. So here are the things to know about bench press. Number 1, it's super useful before you bench to roll your shoulders backwards and you create a little table off of which you bench. Build a table first and then do your bench press. Number 2, if you do this, you're doing a tricep workout. If you're doing this, it's too much and you're putting your shoulder a little bit in danger. You want to be around here, not exactly 45 degrees, but like a nice in the middle type thing. You want to go from your chest up in an explosive manner, and then you go down, the slower you go, the better. This is how you build a really strong chest. And the way that I like to spot people to make sure that I'm letting them do most of the work is I'll actually spot them with 1 finger or with 2 fingers. And that way, they really feel it. And I'm, maybe alleviating 10, 15, 20 pounds, but they're still doing most of the work. Make sure you let your partners really suffer, but also make sure that after they do their normal reps, you force them to do 2 more, because that's how you really gain additional power in the long term. All right, number 1 is bench press. Number 2 is actually shoulder press. You put your feet at about a V, kind of shoulder width apart. You squeeze your abs, you squeeze your butt, and you go like this. I now do them at a pretty high weight. I do 45 plus, and I've injured my shoulders a couple of times doing it. As a result, I love this machine because it lets me sit and in an isolated way do my shoulders. Typically, I recommend using the bars to do compound movements. The king of aesthetics is the shoulder, and in my opinion, the upper chest. So for those, you want to do an incline bench press. Take a bench, to about a 45-degree angle. You lift the bar up to about here, and the same as a normal bench, but incline. Normal bench will work a little bit more of your lower chest, but incline bench will work your upper chest. That's what gives you kind of like the armor look for your body naturally. It also works your shoulders a lot more, and it'll build broad shoulders for you. It also builds a little bit more lats and a little bit more triceps. So if there was one exercise that I would do every single time I come into the gym, the first exercise, it's always incline bench press to set up. And then I might do some flat bench, and then I'll do shoulders, dumbbells, what you want to do, and this is really important. So if you do this, you bring your elbow forward, that's a shoulder exercise. You want to keep it in fulcrum. Now, when I do this, I go and I tap my friend's biceps when they're here, and I tap my friend's triceps when they're here. And that way I make sure that they engage the bicep in the front, and they engage the tricep in the back. And then if you're doing this exercise with 2 dumbbells, I always like to do them 1 at a time, not 2 at the same time, because you can get a hernia by doing both at the same time, so I do 1 at a time. Squeeze at the top, squeeze at the bottom. Squeeze at the top, squeeze at the bottom, and you feel the squeeze. And you should not try to optimize for the weight. You optimize for the feeling of the blood moving through your arms. What matters is the quality of the technique. All right, so that's incline bench press, flat bench press, a little bit of shoulder press, a little bit of dumbbells, and the other one I really like, to be honest with you, other than squat, which we're not gonna cover here, is this beauty. And at a certain point, I really wanted to grow my arms. Then I just decided that this was going to be the exercise that I used to grow my arms. And so really you should treat lifting like a scientist. Figure out what workout moves the needle the most for you. So for me, it was the incline bench press, and more recently this barbell curl. I just started doing barbell curl every single day. And you know what? Suddenly, what I do is I squeeze my butt, I squeeze my abs. You want to kind of roll your shoulders backwards, and you want to kind of bring your pelvis to the front a little bit. And focus on the squeeze and the biceps. And you'll make sure you're properly engaging everything. And those are my favorite gym exercises, and we're gonna finish with a lot of the HIIT cardio with Coach Jack.
Basically, we're going to be going over 4 main punches today. So I am a huge fan of boxing, and I think it's the best cardio workout. It's a full body exercise, essentially. Thankfully, I do have some background in boxing, and we are going to do a very basic sort of intro boxing workout. There's 4 main punches that you're going to throw. The first one is called a jab. That's going to be more of a setup punch. It's more to give space, and it's not necessarily the one that's going to knock somebody out. Your second punch in the arsenal is going to be the cross. That's typically going to be your dominant hand. You're going to be throwing a lot of weight into that. The third one is going to be the hook, and then we're going to have an uppercut, which is, again, more of a power punch, dominant hands preferred. So if you don't have a partner, I still recommend shadow boxing. And shadow boxing is as easy as just looking at yourself in the mirror, and you're just boxing against yourself. Boxing is also a lot of footwork. I actually think it's mostly footwork, and if you do train, you're going to be doing a lot of jump rope, a lot of running, and in the actual fight itself, you're going to be basically on the balls of your feet the entire time. Alright, let's go with Jack. So what we're going to begin with right now is just throwing a few jabs. Again, this is the most basic punch. This is more of a setup. It's not really a power punch, but everything kind of starts from this. Not necessarily light, but very snappy. And you're going to want to make sure that your hand is basically parallel with the floor. Let's just start with some easy jabs. basic sequence that I like a lot, but very effective, is the jab cross. So let's just stay stationary. Let's just do some jab crosses. Jab. Going from the jab, cross, we're gonna introduce the hook. And we're gonna be specifically throwing a left hook. Jab, cross, left hook. We're gonna introduce the final punch, which is the uppercut. Everything is basically setting up for this final one, this final punch, the uppercut. Jab, cross, left hook, right uppercut. It's gonna be jab, cross, hook, and then uppercut. That's a very basic boxing workout, but you can mix it up. You can throw jab, jab, hook, or jab, jab, hook, jab, jab, cross, hook, uppercuts, anything you want after you throw a punch. Just make sure your hands are coming right back to your face. You don't want to get something to the chin. You're gonna get slapped.
How are you feeling?
Wrung out, but ready for more.
And that's his